How are you, sir?
How you doing, partner?
Great to see you. I don't think there's anyone in this room who doesn't know you, but just in case.
All these people. I don't know a lot of people.
Let's start big picture. Give us a little sense about your role here in San Francisco and why San Francisco is so important.
First of all, thank you for coming. Thank you to Axios.
Thank you.
Right when you launched, you guys came out to the Bay Area and we hosted a tech event for you. And what you guys do is fabulous. The journalism you do is fabulous. Shauna and Nadia locally are fabulous. And Nick, thank you. And thanks for the partnership. So
thank you.
We love working with Axios. We think journalism is super important. We think honest information allows us to have a really vibrant local society. And as you look at what you've done and the Standard have done and everybody else, it's been really nice in the city. So thank you. So what do I do for JPMorgan?
Yeah.
I try to make it as small and local as possible. I want to be a bank that's internationally known and locally respected. And what we do is we succeed when cities succeed and when communities succeed. And so in San Francisco, there's tons of economic activity. And so I started in our investment bank working with technology companies almost 30 years ago. And today, if you just saw Ned, who was just incredible, and it's really inspiring to see someone that you've watched and competed against do the work he does.
Yeah.
But today, we dedicate a lot of our time, myself personally, to trying to do well by doing good and be committed to how can we build our business in San Francisco, because we are the largest bank in San Francisco and California with 3 million customers, but those customers are people like you and me and those in this room. We have 290,000 small businesses, like the folks that I eat sushi with and the restaurants I go to, and so this is the home game for me.
Well, let's zoom in on that. I love that framing, like a big global bank that's also a local bank a lot. So what are the strategies? How do you succeed in San Francisco? What does it mean to be a great local banker for a community here?
You get to know people, and you're there as something, like the thing that about a bank like ours is people, through time immemorial, through good and bad, we're there. We're a fortress institution that is it has a deep responsibility to the country and the communities that we serve. And so we have to always think about this. We also are a highly regulated bank, as you would hope any institution like us is. And so we need to figure out how to deliver locally. In San Francisco, we have a lot of different industries. Business industry started here, jeans and clothing. We have lots of different industries, and technology is a vibrant industry, and so we always have to figure out how to serve the community better. In the last couple of years, we've acquired First Republic Bank, which is a fantastic business, and we're so honored to carry that legacy on. And we have lots of work to do always to continue to do that. So we try to apply the scale and heft of a large institution, but make it available to any individual.
But it's also figuring out like which each of these individuals, which each of these businesses need is maybe different from the others, and you only know that by having that personal connection, by knowing the person who's running that coffee shop.
I always say there's an institution and an individual.
Yeah.
And you have to trust the institution, like I trust the city of San Francisco, but I also trust that the mayor and people like Ned and others are going to do a good job for the citizens of San Francisco. Yeah. We're the same thing. We have to deliver something, but we also have to be really good at what we deliver, and that's what we try to do.
So we're here talking about revitalizing downtown. Tell us a little bit why that's such an important issue for you and the bank.
Well, a healthy city has a healthy municipal transit system, has a healthy and affordable cost of living, and I believe that San Francisco needs to be competitive. So my theory on San Francisco is, we make babies here. There is no other place on earth that makes as many baby companies as in the technology world that have the chance to transform the world within a mile than San Francisco. Right. And we have tried so hard to kill that industry. If you look at the last 10 years, we've had some ups and downs and some real tough. Revitalized means it was unvitalized.
Right.
And even in the unvitalized phase, people in San Francisco have a special view of the world and what can be and what's possible. And so what you've seen in the last several years in terms of revitalization is we all know what's possible. And we went through some hard times and we figured out that we needed to really step forward. And I think my mantra has always been, we're the ones we've been waiting for, but as you see people step into it, you're seeing a real lot of hope in San Francisco.
Right.
And when you tunnel in downtown, which I think is your specific question, so we're at 560 Mission Street. We're committed to being there. We have 3,000 employees in the city of San Francisco. We have branches everywhere. You know all this stuff, but we want the city to be healthy and vibrant, and so our effort now is in making it a more conducive place to do business, and we're committed to working with people like the Downtown Development Corp and amazing organizations that you have to do that.
There's a ton of optimism baked into that, it seems like. Like when you mentioned, like if a downtown is struggling, and even then you're able to be like create all these baby companies. Imagine what could happen when the downtown is thriving. Imagine it seems like that's the frame you're working at. If we can make those kinds of investments, like sky's the limit.
We have the
then.
economic capacity in this city. We need to be competitive to attract people to stay here. We need to make it great for young people to live. We need to make it incredible. We have the next, Larry Baer, the Giants, runs such an excellent organization. He's up next. Like you're gonna hear, we have all these great things to offer. And then we need to give people a place to continue to grow and thrive. And some companies outgrow and need to go into other parts of this amazing country too. So we need to have that system. And we also need to show that we can take the prosperity we have and make it applicable to all the people here.
I'm not gonna come to San Francisco and not talk about AI. So I do wanna make an AI question. But let's frame it in the context of downtown. With the AI boom, a lot of them are opening offices around here. How does that fit into what you see happening in this transformation in the city?
There's been a few moments in the history of the United States when a significant portion of the overall productivity of that time went to something, like the railroads and the construction of the railroads, or the construction post-electricity and the wiring of the world. And I think we may be in one of those moments.
Yeah.
We may be in a moment when you can almost industrialize intelligence. In other words, you can figure out how to do things that massively accelerate productivity, like railroads and moving goods and services so far. It changed everything. And so this is the kind of stuff that crazy San Francisco can handle and can think through and wrestle with and figure out how to do.
Exactly the kind of San Francisco transformation.
Well, we can scale up and down organizations and talent. In startups, it means that people are comfortable moving in and out of jobs, and they know that they're going to have a place to be, and this is an innovative place. We have great universities. We may have more universities in San Francisco. So AI is super exciting.
Yeah.
It is transforming the way everything does, and I think hopefully it transforms and makes our lives better.
So we kicked off this long conversation with JPMorganChase earlier in the year in DC with a colleague of yours, Peter Scheer, who I know you want to take a minute to talk about. Talk about your journey with him and why he was so important.
I think a lot of business and a lot of life is learned by the school of hard knocks and just by getting lucky and bumping into great people. And so JPMorganChase is a company of 320,000 people, but it feels like a really small company.
Yeah.
And I have the honor of being mentored over the years by Peter Scheer, who is just a lion of a human and a great leader. And I was thinking about going into service, and I went through that process with Peter. And when I ultimately decided to stay in San Francisco, Peter said, well, why don't you get involved more locally, and you can do this. And that's how my journey began to do this. And then 2023, he formally asked me to help us drive California, setting up what we just call them working groups, but set up a working group, but really take responsibility for thinking about this problem seriously. And every time that we've gone and said, here's what we're doing, he's always been hand out saying, let's do this. So it's an honor. I work for such amazing partners, and so it's awesome.
We can thank him for being on the stage here
thank
today.
Peter for being on the stage.
All right, before we run out of time, we're going to end on one fun thing at Axios. That's what we left in our newsletters with. Let's do that on stage, too. Let's end on one San Francisco thing. Give me your perfect San Francisco day. What's the one thing I should go do before I go to the airport tomorrow? Come on. What's great?
I'm here for JP Morgan, right? And I'm kind of like, everybody knows me, they know JP Morgan. So like, I gotta tell my story, but I will drink coffee from Blue Bottle Coffee. I met the founder of Blue Bottle Coffee and the owner, and we ended up working with them, and then we ultimately sold them to Nestle, who's done a fabulous job. So I would start with Blue Bottle Coffee.
All right.
My perfect day would be involved sending my kids to school. It's something I've done. Now I have 3 children, and they're getting older, but the perfect day would be dropping them off when they're young, because I miss those times, and I really love them. I would probably have lunch at K-Fico, because that's an amazing Chase client.
All right.
And I love what he's doing, and I also think the food's awesome, and I think those things go hand in hand. I would definitely go to a Warriors game, because that's at the Chase Center.
All right.
And I would stop at the JP
This
Morgan
is on
Club.
brand, man.
No, I'm a runner. I love roasting coffee. I love my family, and those are the things that I like to do, and I like to do it locally. So I think there's just incredible restaurants and places, but most of all, I do it with friends.
I've got a to-do list. Thank you, Noah, for being here. Huge thanks to JPMorganChase for making this possible.